One sunny day in 1995, a man decided to rob two banks in Pittsburgh without hiding his identity or wearing a mask. In fact, before leaving each bank, he even smiled at the surveillance camera. Naturally, it didn't take long for the police to identify the robber, and they eventually apprehended him after a late-night chase. But the strange thing was, when handcuffed, the robber seemed confused and muttered, "But I wore the juice." It seems this bank robber believed that applying lemon juice to his face would make him invisible to the bank's security cameras. Not only did he believe it, but he was also quite confident in his idea. His reasoning was based on the fact that lemon juice is often used in invisible ink due to its chemical properties, and he thought this would make him invisible to the bank's security cameras. However, this was obviously a completely absurd way of thinking. However, the remarkable thing is that even after the police showed him the video footage of the robbery, he was still very surprised to see that his plan had failed, and he thought the video had been faked. But after the police concluded that the man was neither insane nor under the influence of drugs, it turned out to be an incredible case of misunderstanding and confusion. This amusing incident intrigued two social psychologists, Dunning and Kruger, and they decided to delve deeper into this phenomenon. What particularly interested them was the robber's level of confidence, which led him to believe he could fool the security cameras with just lemon juice. To explore this in a controlled setting, they conducted a study with a group of college students, focusing on various aspects such as grammar, logical reasoning, and sense of humor. After the students received their test scores, they were asked to estimate their overall score and rank compared to their classmates. This is where Dunning and Kruger made an interesting discovery. They found that the students who scored the lowest on these tests consistently overestimated their level of success, and not just by a little, but by a lot. They believed they had scored around the average, while in reality their scores were among the lowest. Therefore, these students not only lacked the competence or skills in those areas, but were also unaware of how poorly they had performed. The students who scored the highest had a more accurate perception of their abilities, but they made a different mistake. Paradoxically, the top-performing students underestimated their own achievements. They were aware that they had performed better than average, but because they found the test easy, they assumed it was easy for everyone. They didn't realize that their abilities placed them in the top percentile. This phenomenon is now known as the Dunning-Kruger Effect. In summary, individuals with low ability often lack the skills to recognize their own shortcomings or lack of knowledge. This lack of awareness leads them to overestimate their abilities. This can be clearly seen in the chart, where the lack of skill or knowledge hardly diminishes their confidence. However, as you gain a deeper understanding of a specific topic, your confidence often decreases. It is only when you reach an average level of skill that your confidence in that subject begins to rise again. This applies not only to cognitive tasks, but to many other aspects of life as well. It seems that the specific skill being assessed doesn't play a significant role. People tend to overestimate their own abilities when they know little about a particular field. The Dunning-Kruger effect can be easily observed in talent shows like American Idol. During the audition rounds, there is a wide range of performance levels, from talented singers to those who are not good. Those who lack the ability to perform well often fail to recognize their own ineptitude. They are usually surprised and disappointed when they are eliminated, because they do not realize that they did not meet the expected standards. In reality, we often do not accurately assess ourselves. In fact, the majority of people believe they are above average. 88% of the population believes they are better drivers than most others. Even older individuals rate themselves as the best drivers. A more interesting example is that 94% of professors believe they are better than their colleagues. We often rate ourselves higher than others, even violating mathematical rules. But why is that? Why does lesser skill make you more confident in your abilities? Let's imagine how this plays out. Meet Mike. He's a freelance photographer, and this box represents his level of knowledge about photography. And here's the high level of confidence he believes he has in this field and how much he knows about it. For this reason, he easily rates himself in the top percentile of all photographers. But suppose he meets a professional photographer, someone who has been in the industry for 7 years, but still has much to learn. This photographer has a deep understanding of photography. However, he also recognizes that there is still much to be explored and learned in this field. Because of his broader knowledge of the subject, he realizes that there are still vague and undiscovered aspects. However, Mike doesn't have that perspective. Now you can understand why Mike is so confident in his abilities. Right? Mike doesn't know, but what's crucial is that he doesn't know where. With his limited knowledge of the field, he doesn't realize how much richer and more complex it is. And because he's unaware of what he doesn't know, he estimates that he understands about 90% of photography. Meanwhile, experts often have a clearer perception of their level of knowledge, but they often fall into another trap. They assume that others also have similar knowledge, mainly because others seem overly confident. In this case, the photographer knows that he only knows about 70%. But if he encounters someone like Mike, he'll rate himself lower. As a result, even knowing only 90% is still better than 70%. We are all susceptible to the Dunning-Kruger effect. But how do you avoid falling into this trap? That's the important question. First, strive to learn and develop yourself. You don't need to know everything, but blind confidence is a clear sign of foolishness. It seems that as humans accumulate more knowledge, they realize how limited their understanding is. In other words, as we learn more about a topic, we recognize how complex and profound it is, and how much we have yet to explore or understand. This creates an interesting paradox. The more time we spend studying an issue, the more we often feel we know little about it. However, those who only skim over a topic will never realize how much they don't know. In Dunning-Kruger experiments, students lacking skills or competence improve their ability to accurately estimate test outcomes after receiving some assistance on the skills they lacked. Sometimes, having someone ahead to show you what you don't know can be very helpful. So, when you feel confident that you understand a certain topic, try to reconsider. You might be falling into the trap of the Dunning-Kruger effect. You may not know what you don't know. Always stay open to learning and keep exploring.